Hello and welcome back to Paul's Beer Reviews again. Beer number 3 from the Siren Caribbean chocolate cake box set of 2023. And we're going a bit different. This one is the Caribbean salted cherry chocolate cake stout with a brown colour on this one. Tropical stout with cacao, sea salt, cherries and cypress wood. And this one's coming in at 7.4% ABV. Salted cherry. Sounds interesting. So this is going to be like a Black Forest Gateau. Caribbean chocolate cake meets Black Forest Gateau. In this new special addition to the series, sea salt brings out intense dark chocolate notes and balances the rich cherry filling. Sounds awesome. The other two have been terrific. The Nitro was lovely. The Imperial was incredible. I'm intrigued by the idea of a chocolate stout with sea salt and cherry added to it. Does sound really interesting. Let's get this one out into the lovely little glass. I think one thing that can be said for these beers so far, they've been really drinkable. Really drinkable. Even though they've been 7.4, 10%, this one's 7.4. Big beers, you know, they're boozy beers. Just about fits in the glass. Got a bit of domage going on at the top there. Looks very nice. Guinness fans will appreciate that. We'll leave that one there. So the Caribbean salted cherry. Salted cherry chocolate cake. Fascinating with this. But there she is. Again, it's just got that. There's no red bleeding through that at all. That is another jet black stout. And again, it's got that beautiful looking milky coffee, butterscotch, peanut butter coloured head on it. And none of them have been in a rush to dissipate. None of them wanted to go anywhere. It's just sheer quality. Look at that. Looks wonderful. Let's get me snouting. See what the aroma is telling us. Not a lot. That's the first time I've said that. I was just struggling to get it through this quite thick foam head. It's a really subtle aroma on this one, which I wasn't expecting. I don't know if I'm really smelling salt and cherry or my brain is just telling me I should be smelling it because that's what's written on the can. It's a very underwhelming aroma on this one so far. I'll give it another wriggle, see if I can pick it up. A touch of chocolate, definitely. And a bit of salt maybe, but it's not exactly leaping out at me. Let's get stuck in, shall we? Cheers. Oh, that's a bit weird. That's a bit weird for me. Nowhere near as much chocolate on this one. Nowhere near. It feels lighter. Picking up more of a carbonation on the mouthfeel. There's certainly a slight cherry tartness to it. Slight chocolate. Cherry tartness, definitely. Milk chocolate. Light bodied, carbonated. That's maybe the tiniest little bit of a sea salt on the finish. But that tartness of the cherry kind of carries through. And you are left with a very slightly salty, tarty finish. And if you're thinking to yourself, salty and tarty, doesn't sound like a nice combination. If you're thinking that, you would be right. I'm not enjoying this one. Not enjoying this one, if I'm honest. Very little on the aroma. The rich chocolate that I've got on the last two is not coming out on here. That was a little bit of a warning sign there. Sometimes you can get beers that have very little aroma, but then they back it up with, you know, there'll be an incredible flavour afterwards. Excuse me, and it's gassy as well, this one. Don't like this one. This is nowhere near as good as the other two, in my opinion. It's interesting. There's a lot going on with it. But I feel like they've sacrificed an unnecessary amount in order to make this an interesting one. No, that cherry, it's like a synthetic cherry. It doesn't taste, I mean, for me anyway, I'm sure they've used good quality cherries to go into this. I could probably read it up somewhere. I'm sure they've used good quality cherries in this, but for me, it tastes like a synthetic cherry flavour. There is a saltiness to it at the back end, and you are just left with this weird cherry and slightly salty finish. And I just feel like if they'd have had a little bit more body to this one, if that sort of creamy, really rich chocolatey flavour had come into this, it would have been very, very good. But for me, it just hasn't worked. I would have been interested to see if they'd have done this at an imperial ABV strength. I wonder if that would have improved it. It's doing a lot on the palate, but it's just not my cup of tea, this one. That tart cherry just tastes a bit synthetic for me, and I'm not sure about the salty finish to it either. Not enough chocolate on it. If it had been a bit more chocolate, I think it might have balanced itself out a little bit better. But for me, that tartness of the cherry is overpowering, and it's not a particularly nice cherry for me. No, this is one where I'm glad it's only a 330ml can. It's not unpleasant, but I certainly wouldn't want to drink any more of it. I certainly wouldn't go back to it. Whereas the other two, I wanted more. This one I do not. Not my cup of tea. Bit too sweet, and it just doesn't balance with the rest of the flavours very well. It's thinner. It's a lesser stout. Certainly a lesser beer. Yeah, and say the cherry aspect, which is the most overpowering bit, itself is slightly synthetic tasting to me. So I'm not a fan of this one. For what it's worth, if I was to score it, I'd give it a 4. It's a below average stout for me, this one, which is a shame. So one more left, which I think is a cupcake one, which I'm quite looking forward to. So Caribbean salted cherry. Yeah, just a bit synthetic, a bit overly sweet for me, this one. But there you go, can't win them all. Give the video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. I do appreciate it. Till my next one, you take care.